Hey there, welcome to Bible Doubter. This is the place for sincere doubters. Come with your sincere doubts. I hope I give you something else to walk away with as the point of all of this. I want to talk about something that is almost like a question that is thrown at people who have faith in the Bible, as even the question itself negates the whole scripture itself, and that is, where did Cain's wife come from? Seems like a reasonable question when you think that they were sons of Adam and Eve, the first parents, and he was banished as a punishment by God for killing his brother, and in this other place he found a wife to marry. So the question is, if they were the only family in the world, who did he marry in some other place? There's a response to this, and in order to respond to it properly, I have to tell you that I take the information in the Bible at face value. You can or can't. You're the Bible doubter. But I do, because it mentions the people living before the flood as living to very long periods of time, 8 or 9 centuries, which is not without precedent in that another ancient document, the Sumerian king list, they list their kings as living to tens of thousands of years. Was that a bit of bravado, braggadocio going on in the inscriptions? Who knows? But I'm just to say that there has been this seemingly a pattern of ancient peoples living to substantially long periods of time than we do. Just having that out there. And the Bible has proven itself to me. I'm just telling you why I take these at face value. And these are the ones we need to look at. Genesis 4:25. It says that Eve had a son named Seth, but she says in the text, this is to replace Abel, who was murdered by his brother. So, when did that take place? Genesis 5:3 says that Seth was born when Adam was 130 years old. Now think about that. If Seth was born when Adam was 130, and Eve says this is to replace Abel, who was murdered, then clearly that happened in proximity to this year. The murder of Abel happened close to here, because at that time, when Eve gave birth again, she said, this is a replacement. So time-wise, it would have been very close, if not that very time. So think about that. I turned my calculations now into how many people could populate the world. We know Adam and Eve had other children. I mean, they were commanded by God, be fruitful and multiply. It pretty much was their thing back then. So they would have had other sons and daughters. But how many? The calculation I used, just as an example, which I thought was very conservative, was that if they had one child every 5 years, because if I made it sooner than that, like one child a year, the number of toddlers compared to the ratio to the grown adults was just completely unworkable. There'd be a huge number of toddlers very quickly. And then I waited till after 20 years, when those children became 20 years old, only then did they start having children, the grandchildren. Of course, they could have done it earlier, but that was my formula. And with that formula, there would be over 700 people in the world by the year 130. Now, that's certainly enough to make it plausible that Cain runs away to another settlement of these 700 or more, or could be much more, people, and finds himself a wife. It also explains when they came out of the ark, 4 mature families, 8 in the ark, 4 husband and wife pairs. You just quadruple these numbers, which explains why there could have been a larger community of people to build what is described as the Tower of Babel, as we know it, the Tower of Babel. Again, this is just a response. Hopefully you have something new to consider or to chew on. Thanks for taking time with Bible Doubter.